Okay, Keanu, how's spring ball been?
Phenomenal and everything that I think we've wanted it to be. Yeah, I really enjoyed the process, the dedication of the teammates, the unifying of our players on and off the field, and then the way that we played. We just had our last practice Friday, and that ended exactly the way that we wanted to. Energy, enthusiasm, ruthless defense, technicians, and a unified team. You could see it out there. I wish, the fans could see, but they will. They'll get their taste in the fall, and you'll see all the work that came in before it. So it was really good.
What's been affirmed by being here, and what's been a surprise for you being on BYU's football team?
What's been affirmed is an amazing culture. People that love the process, people that are bought into growth, and a team that is disciplined towards developing what they can. And what's been surprising is the level of unity. I knew that they were connected, and I knew that they had a good culture. But their connection between players, their connection between player and coaches, their connection to the fans, and all of the things that they do to incorporate this scheme of love and culture that they have, it's surprising. I knew they had it, but now being a part of it, it's second to none in my opinion. There's no other team that could compare in unity. And then what also is surprising is the leadership and the aspect of players leading and taking over and wanting to be what drives this team.
You talked about what you wanted spring ball to be, and how is exactly that? What did you want spring ball to be?
We wanted it to be an experience of failures building us to shape and refine us into what we wanted. So it wasn't perfect, right? A lot of people think you want it to be perfect. No, we wanted it to be deliberate, and we wanted it to be a process of growth. And so for us to peak right at the end of spring ball, that's why it was everything that we wanted. It was, we had scrimmages where the offense would beat us, or we would beat ourselves by not paying attention to detail, not having enough leadership, not communicating the way we wanted to, or executing. For us, those failures built us to the position that we were at the end of the season, or at the end of spring ball. And so within that last practice, we put it all together, and we tasted of what we can be truly. And so now we can go and apply that to the fall.
What's the balance of success in practice? Because if it's 100% awesome on defense, the offense stinks, or vice versa. Yet you don't really want it to be 50-50 if you're on the defense. So how does that work?
We do. I feel like we strive for 100% success, in the sense of success is defined as 100% effort. So you're gonna lose reps, right? There's guys, there's other teams, there's people that are sacrificing to become good ball players too. You're not playing against a third grade football team, so you're bound to lose a rep. You're bound to be beat every now and then. They're bound to score. It's a game of football, and so success for us is defined as being deliberate and giving our all. And so I feel like if we can have that, and then we can make the corrections to the details and the technique and the scheme within the film room, then we go and give 100% effort to what we critiqued. That's the development of an amazing team.
Talk to me about who's in the two deep and in the mix at D tackle right now.
Right now, there's me and JT and Josh Singh that are amazing players, unified, and all three of us are really bouncing off of each other really well. We've created a really great level of unity and understanding of who the other person is to work well together. We also have Sani Tuwala as well as Anisi Purcell, who are standouts. We have a lot of guys, Yosefa. So, but ultimately those first three guys that I named, along with Sani and Anisi, are going to be huge contributors to this defense.
What stats, if any, do you guys use to define success?
I love the term that I've learned along my college growth of, there's a terminator, the person that makes the play, and then there's a determinator. Someone who's a determinator is someone that dictates the direction of the play. And so as a defensive tackle, we don't always have the prettiest job. We don't always get the prettiest pick six, or, I don't know if we could catch it and even outrun those guys. But we have the ability to make every play into a defensive play, by the ability to suffocate a quarterback, by the ability to get knocked back on the line. And so a lot of what we measure is our effort to determine the play and to help it so that someone else on the defense is able to terminate it, if not terminate it ourselves.
Terminator and Determinator.
Yep.
There's a movie franchise which was pretty cool. Maybe we'll see the other at some point.
Right. I hope so.
Okay, talk to me about coming into this program at this time? Because last year at this time it was, hey, people don't think BYU can win in the Big 12. They were 5-7 last year. They used that chip on their shoulder to go 11-2. Now you're seeing this team after that. What's the chip on the shoulder? What's the motivation for this group?
The chip on the shoulder is recognizing the capacity. Recognizing the capacity of the team. The capacity of the team was this is a college football playoff contender for a championship, and it wasn't able to get that because of two short things that we didn't necessarily perform in the way that we wanted to. And so the chip on the shoulder is we know that we have that capacity, but are we putting in enough to be that? To be more than we were. 11-2 was amazing, but if anything, that means that's the baseline. Everything we did to get that was the baseline. So now how do we add to that and do so much more so then we're never short of it again for this upcoming year?
I do want to rewind to the BYU-Utah game and sort of your perspective in that. Now that you're on this side of what BYU was able to do on that final drive and the hold and the field goal and everything, what emotions went through you now that you're here and you kind of look back at that game, which was on this side historic?
I gave everything to that game, and I believe that my team did as well. Up there at the U, we tried our best. Winning doesn't owe you anything, and there's no promises guaranteed to it. And so, within that last drive, BYU, they were able to get it done. That's, in my belief, something that I've always understood is football is a game of inches and seconds. And if you can win a little bit more inches and seconds, then that's what's going to take you the extra mile. BYU did that year, and I feel that we'll do that again because of our attention to detail this year. Was it a hold? I get asked all the time. Maybe. Again, I don't know. It could have been a hold. It could have not been. I'm sure there was probably 500 other holding calls that weren't called or were called. Football, again, it's not made up of one play. The game is made up of a series of events, and so we can't blame one series. It may have been critical to the game winning, but BYU played a good game, and they were finished on top. And we saw that last year. They finished multiple times. So that's not something that they got lucky. That's something that they trained, that they became, and that we are now. And we're only trying to refine to not have it so close that we can do that earlier and win earlier.
With that said, take me back to looking over and seeing the flag on the fourth down, and then take me back to the field goal.
The flag was rough because, you give everything. And especially in a moment like that, you're like, oh, this is it. I'm going to put everything into this snap. And so we think we get it. We start celebrating. We're in the end zone celebrating with all of these alumni who are standing on there. We're cheering to the fans. And we turn around, we hear whistles, and we see a flag, and we're like, oh, my goodness, what is this, and heartbreak. And it's like, oh, so it's hard to get out of that mental stamina that you kind of just burnt out.
Thought you'd won.
You thought you'd won. So then it was hard to bounce back. We tried to battle out of it, and then the field goal, just a heartbreaker. I'd given everything to that game. I was so caught up in the process of giving everything that when I turned around, I looked at the clock, and I was like, oh, my goodness, there's 2 seconds as that ball's going in. And I was just devastated. I dropped to a knee, and I was just exhausted. I was tired mentally, physically. I wasn't terribly sad because that's the game that we play. And I was so proud of myself of giving that much effort. But, I plan on doing that again this year. So
I heard that you baptized Kalani's son
I did.
while you were on your mission. Talk to me about how that happened.
Man, it was insane. So obviously when you're getting recruited, you call coaches, and we had called on FaceTime. I'd met the kids, met the family through the phone, and I move into this new area. I was called to Canada, but reassigned to Provo, so I'm serving here.
COVID reassignment?
COVID reassignment, yeah. And I move into this area. I'm looking through some of the records, and I'm like, who's this kid, KK Sataki? I'm like, who is this guy? And I'm like, no way. So I tap on his family tree, and I'm looking at his connections, and I see Kalani, and I'm like, this is not BYU's head coach. Didn't he have his kid baptized? I'm like, what is it? What's going on over here? And I know this family. I'd been on the phone as they recruited me. So I tried to call. They didn't pick up. I mean, he's a busy man. So I go to the house. I knock on the door, and his wife opens up. And I'm like, hi, how are you? She's like, Elder, Keanu, because we've talked before. And so we start to get to talking, and I find out that her son, they give their kids the choice. And he just wanted more time to learn the gospel, and that was his process. And I love that. I love that they incorporate agency within their own home. And so we go, it just goes on. And I connect with Keke and my companion, and we start teaching him, and we teach him the lessons because he's not a member, and
How old is he at this point?
he's 9.5, almost 10, and it just became a special bond for me to not only be recruited by that family, but then to spiritually be a part of their journeys and to be a part of Keke's journey. And so for that, then he got baptized, and it was just a surreal experience. And now being back with him, seeing the kids at practice, being able to see their presence, it's like, man, I was blessed to be a part of their family and to be a part of their journey, and now they're supporting me in mine, and it's a surreal experience.
So Keke was probably the happiest that you transferred here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was so awesome seeing him for the first time back here. Keke or Kalani. Kalani was jumping for joy when I called him on the phone and told him. So it's been surreal, yeah.
Were you more with me or Spencer in the safety zone? Obedient?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. Of course.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Thanks for the time.
Thank you. Appreciate you.